Still checking if the place still cold. Moving in the way, no place, no snow. Straight chilling with my niggas that shiver. Thinking about South Lake, thoughts on the river. Move back, nigga. Move back, nigga. Fake Jordan, that's whack ass bitch, nigga. I come back with 11 damn shots. I claim this city and I take your spot. Stay thinking about a white one, thinking about a bright sun. Did I change straight from the dark shit? No tape when I play with the black gun, nigga. You ain't never been a god since the last run. No stats in the place that show. A lot of niggas tell me that I never really own. Track to the place, back, nigga. Tell me that I'm like a nigga, but my flow sicker. Calling, I'm calling. Shit, yeah. Dressed like a motherfucking god when I reach the spot. Niggas always tell me that I made it from the empty slot. Change ways, niggas, no truth, no plot. Fuck a wet brand, no top, no spot. Chase all day to the thoughts in the back. With my niggas, fuck bitches in the back of the cab. Claim riches, but a nigga been whack. Never talk, boy, with your fake ass stack. Cash, talking about cash, nigga. When I throw that shade, catch, nigga. Last time when I talk to a man, well, shit. Run quick, slash for the neck, nigga. No, I gotta make it out the cold for the best show. Please don't try, never show my pack. Bitch, don't cry, just move that tag. That's trash, thought I never really say this. Call my music on my ex-bitch playlist. Bitches say 613, that's the greatest. But I never see no niggas ever famous. Facts, boy, leg boy, trash boy. 10 fake babe, hoodies, face ass boy. No, I tell these niggas that I never do shit. But my thoughts never sit, so I'm never not slick, nigga. Watch me leave this place you stay. Think about the fault you made. Change the fucking shit you say. I may be back another day.
Who's this guy? Lucifer, which is connected to Hoaxstead.
No, Lucifer's not that. Lucifer's not that.
Who's Lucifer then? Who's Lucifer?
The person I can't talk to him. I'm listed. I'm listed.
Okay. Yeah, I had a daughter with somebody who later transpired to be a paedophile, and I did not favour him over my daughter, but I did sadly get bullied by my family and professionals into believing him over my daughter. I did not favour him over my daughter.
I've got one question for you, Angela.
Right, go ahead, Brian.
I've got one question for you, which is turning around my head, and this is why I stopped contacting you. And you know I'm straight, I'll be honest with you.
Yeah, go for it.
What's this rumour going around about the letter that you gave about the child? Right, that's all I wanted to know.
That's what I'm right? When my daughter was 11, she disclosed that her birth father had molested her when she was 7. And I got in touch with him, and I got in touch with professionals, and I told my family, and he said, absolutely untrue, I'll come to Ireland, I'll do a lie detector. You've over-sensitized her, you've filled her head with child sexual abuse, and it's not true. And then my family also, including a social worker sister that was very senior in child protection, they all convinced me that I must have implanted a false memory in my daughter, is what they basically were telling me. And so I then was in a church as well, which I didn't realise was fucked up. And the church also got behind the narrative that, no, this is not true, you've put this in your daughter's head, right? And so I had counselling at the church in Dundalk, and the counsellor said to me, you really need to ask your daughter to write a letter to her dad and apologise, right? And I'm so ashamed if there's
shame on you. I can't believe that happened.
If there's anything in my life I regret, I let myself be bullied and gaslit. Yeah. And I thought, Gabriella, you know, you know, maybe it didn't happen. Perhaps you should write to your daddy and say sorry. And I'm ashamed.
You want people to actually victim yourself.
I know. But here's the thing, right? And like they could pin that on me forever. I did follow my church and family's advice that I got my daughter to make this shit up, right? And God forgive me, I said, please write your daddy a letter and tell him you're sorry. And then 3 years later, we found proof that she'd been telling the truth and that her dad was.
Well, 3 years later, you found me. Shame on you.
Shame on me like that. And I cried for a year and said to my daughter, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I can never.
Tell you, is it true that your relationship can never be strong again after that? Or has she?
My daughter and I go through, like we're like that, and then we fight, and then we're like that, and then we fight. We can be estranged, and then we come back together. We finish each other's sentences. She follows my footsteps. We adore each other, but it's a very difficult relationship, and I wouldn't blame her if she goes to her grave and says, I'll never forgive you for not believing me. But all I can say,
I'll never forgive you for, and honestly, to be harsh, right? That is what you deserve, really.
Yeah, well, okay.
No, Matt. No one's perfect, Matt. No one's perfect, Matt. You're not perfect, nor am I. No, that's wrong. Everyone deserves forgiveness. No, you're out of order then. What
do you reckon God would say to her then? What do you reckon God would say to you, Andrew?
He'll forgive her.
I'm not God would forgive you. You turned your back on a kid.
Thou shalt go through the valley of death. Yeah.
When my daughter and I found the proof that she had been telling the truth, I got her counselling, I got me counselling, I put up with her raging for 2 years and acting out, and I just thought, I deserve it. But ultimately, even though I had let her down as a mother, but the person ultimately to be angry with was the person that.
And Matt, you're fucked up, Matt. Loads of fucking times, Matt. Let's be real.
I was
fucked up, Matt. Loads of times. As have I. Matt,
you're talking to Angela, and I agree.
I've fucked up. You fucked up loads of times.
Don't start telling me what I've done in my life, Brian.
What you haven't fucked up, Matt? What you haven't fucked up, Matt?
I feel ashamed of what I've done in my life.
What you haven't fucked up, Matt?
No, I'm saying there's nothing I'm not ashamed of I haven't done in my life.
Well, you're telling me there's nothing you're ashamed of. You've done in the last 5 years you're ashamed of.
Absolutely, there's nothing I'm ashamed of.
Stalking a chief inspector. What about that?
No, listen, Brian, I've got to stop you there. Listen,
I wasn't a stalker, so I don't know what you're saying.
No, I've got to say this.
But you read it in the paper, Brian. But yet you expect us to believe you don't want fucking evidence.
Listen, Brian, listen to me. Matt, just let me say this, right? When whistleblowers expose corruption in the police or at government level, instead of the corruption being investigated, the whistleblowers are done for stalking and harassment. That's just a tactic.
What about Umbrella Break Solutions? What about Umbrella Break Solutions, Kaylee, Matt? What about that?
I used to like her.
What about her, Brian?
You know, Matt. Talk about Umbrella Break Solutions, Kaylee, any.
Why should I talk about her?
I like Kaylee. What's the issue?
You say you've been perfect in 5 years, Matt. I'm not perfect, and I put my hands up. Fuck off, Matt. Be real.
What have I done? Okay, then.
Right, I'm a bit emotional now. So
you see, you said something right at the end of what you said, which was I agreed with wholeheartedly. What was that? Because Brian jumped in and stole that.
Ultimately, even though my daughter had every right to be angry with me and devastated and rage at me,
but at some
point, you had to say to herself, who molested me?
Yes.
It was not mommy, it was daddy, right?
Exactly. And why is the blame on you? Because the same thing happened to my mum, Angela. My mum failed my sister, and she was abused. So I've been there.
Yeah.
Okay.
No,
so
you've been there when it was your sister, Matt. That wasn't you. It was your sister.
Here's the thing.
Hey, listen, it affects me, Brian, just as much as everyone else.
Here's the thing, Matt. Right, just a minute, Brian. On that visit, her dad was in America, and on that visit when I lived in Suffolk, he was due to take my daughter on holiday for 5 days to the Isle of Wight, to my social worker sister, who convinced me that I made it all up and put that story in her head, right? So he turned up and he stayed the night, and the next day they were supposed to take a train to the Isle of Wight and a ferry and have a 5-day holiday, and she was only 6 or 7, and the next morning she seemed troubled. He hadn't raped her or anything, but he had molested her, and the next day she said to me, I don't want to go on holiday, Mummy. And so I said, you don't have to go. Like and he was furious with me. He's like, do you know how much planning has gone into this? And your sister's expecting us, and we're going to take her here and take her there and do this and do that. And I said, I'm sorry, my daughter doesn't see you except for once a year. She doesn't want to go, and I'm not going to make her. So even though, you know, I did a lot wrong, but I believe I protected her from what could have been an absolute fucking nightmare. And I never let her in his company unaccompanied after that. Even when I didn't believe her, I never let her be unchaperoned.
When did you eventually when did the penny drop for you that you believed her? How many, 3 years later, what? We found proof. What was that proof that you said, right, okay, I'm wrong?
We found photographs.
Our relationship never be the same again.
He came on a visit. He used to come once a year on a visit, and I never let him be unchaperoned with her again, but he accidentally left behind a rucksack and some photographs of the Burning Man festival in California, and different pennies dropped, and suddenly she came down.
Was that the Los Angeles festival? The one in Los Angeles? Yeah.
And she came down and said, look what Daddy left behind, Mom. And we looked at the photographs together. They were horrendous. And then just various other things just fell into place. And I just looked her in the eye and I said, you were telling the truth, weren't you? And I'm so sorry. And I contacted, because when she first disclosed, he offered to fly to Ireland and do a lie detector. So I contacted the local sheriff's department where he lived in California, and I told them, and I sent them the photographs and an audio disc, and they were brilliant, and they said, we will do a criminal standard polygraph test on him. So I contacted him and called his bluff and said, your local Manzanita sheriff's department are waiting for you to go in and do a polygraph test. He sold everything and fled America.
Typical.
He was a multi-millionaire.
He had no choice, no doubt.
He was a multi-millionaire. Rather than go for the polygraph test, he fled, and he currently lives in Bangkok or Thailand, Malaysia.
So your daughter was aging low. I mean, has that because I know the consequences of abuse on kids. How has that affected your daughter's life, and has she been successful because of it, or has she ended up in the streets like my sister?
She's very successful, but she's single. And
they're never the same. They're fucked up for life. Let's be honest. They're fucked up for life.
Yeah. It affects you for life. Yeah.
That's the truth.
Yeah, that's what's why I'm so callous.
No,
and it's got to be, stop the war on drugs. Let's concentrate on these fucking paedophiles.
There's 5 generations that are documented in my family of abuse victims, and she's the 4th generation. And it has to stop. It has to stop.
Yeah, look, Brian, don't jump in though. But Angie, look, I'm sorry I was so, stern with you then. But I didn't mean as I said the same to my mother now. And Mum was as hard as she was on herself as you. But, in a way, that's why I want to shout out for people like Samantha Baldwin for standing up for the kids. And to my ex, okay, because she's a lovely lady we're still maintaining a friendship, and she's still letting me have access to the kid. Basically,
this is what I'm saying, Matt. This is what I'm saying. Bollocks. What do you mean letting you have access to your children? They're your children.
Yeah, no, because a lot of Ryan, listen up, Ryan, a lot of mothers, right? A lot of mothers prevent their father.
Yeah, absolutely. But your words in his wrong. You should be allowed. You've got a right to see your children. No mother. None of my ex-wives can tell me I can't see my children.
I may have a right though. I'm just saying, Brian. A lot of mothers are arseholes to fathers, and I'm so glad that my ex and we have a good relationship, so we don't have to do that. My cousin is going through a rough one because the mother of his child is being horrible to him.
Yeah.
So I'm just grateful that I've got such a strong friendship. You shouldn't be
grateful that you should have access to your own children. They're your fucking children.
You're angry again. Why are you so angry about it?
I'm never angry. I'm passionate, Matt. You just integrate anger with passion. Listen, none of my ex-wives can tell me I can't see my kids. They're my fucking kids.
Then. But I bet you they can then. And I tell you, they'll go to the court and you get the police involved. That's the whole point. There's a lot of mothers who say you cannot do it, and they'll use the courts to prevent fathers from seeing their own kids. That's happening to a lot of people.
I'm told.
I'm going to shout out thank you to all the mothers who don't go that route. That's all I'm saying. I don't expect a big, a rant and rave against that opinion. It's a good thing. I've had a good day with my family. Okay, and I thank the mother of my kids for that.
Why?
For inviting me on there.
Why should you thank them? They're your children.
Because my mum always said, anyway, look. Why should I thank them? Because I'm thankful for God. I'm thankful for everything in my life.
Why should you thank your ex-wife?
Because I'm blessed
your
to have
own
this happen
children.
to me.
You're mad. They're your children.
Well, okay, what about all their kids then, right, who are abused by their dad?
That's different. Are you an abuser? Are you an abuser? Are you an abuser, Matt? Are you an abuser, Matt? If you don't abuse your children, your right is to see your children whenever you fucking want.
Brian, that's what we're living in a system in which the people who do abuse their children are given the rights to see them. Whereas the good
I'm not on about that, Matt. You're changing it. You're disinformation. You're changing the subject. I'm saying to you, do you abuse your kids?
What kind of fucking question is that?
I'm not coming
into you. I'm coming into my chat show, my story hour, to be interrogated with bullshit questions like that.
It's a straight question. If you don't abuse them, then you should be allowed to see them. Under no circumstance, they're your children. It's a simple question. If you don't abuse your children, you have no disqualification. You should be allowed to see your kids whenever you want.
You're right, Brian. You're right, mate.
I know I'm right.
All right, look, let's calm down because, Matt, I know you're a good dad and I know you're not a stalker.
Well, thank you. Thank you. Yeah, it doesn't sound like... It sounds like Brian.
No, I think Brian is just trying
You can ask me the same question. Do I abuse my kids? No, I do not, Matt.
I don't want to ask you. Why would I ask you that question, Brian?
Because you're saying you're acting grateful for being able to see your own children.
Yes,
you should be grateful. They're your fucking kids.
I thank God for giving me the life every day to see my kids and to reap.
You're diluting the father's rights, mate.
Okay. Yeah, look, I'm not arguing, Brian. I don't know why it's an argument.
All right, listen, Matt.
It's an argument.
Matt, is there anything else? Because I'm gonna.
I'm out.
Yeah, and well done, Brian. And don't get upset. I'm kind of with Brian on that one, Matt. You do have a right to see your children.
Yeah, I use that right. I'm not arguing against that.
All right.
And I'm grateful, and that's why I'm grateful. I know I've got a right.
Okay.
But just as easily, a mother can say, "Oh no," and they can go to a court and take that right away.
I think.
I'm just saying, I'm grateful that I've got a mother in which that doesn't happen.
I think society is a victim of matriarchy, and you've grown up predominantly without a father with a very strong mother, and so you have a overly developed reverence for women. Possibly.
Yeah, I like women. Yeah.
You know, you do have a right to see your children, and that's
I wouldn't. It's just he wound me up, that man.
No, I know. And
I was just shouting out all those, I'm very grateful. I've got a good relationship with my kid's mother.
No, I think that's good. It's just I don't want you to be. I want I don't know. I think alpha males threaten people, like they make metrosexual males feel a bit threatened. And I'm not accusing you or categorizing you. I certainly don't believe you're gay. I do believe in your imaginary girlfriend.
I'm in touch with my feminine side. That's all I've got to say on that.
I know, but I do believe you've got a lovely girlfriend, and you're probably a lovely boyfriend. So I just think there's something we can learn from everybody. So
absolutely, yeah.
It's been good to connect, and I think I might have to hide under the duvet for the rest of the weekend.
Well, God bless, Evan. Thanks ever so much for taking the time. It's been a 2 hour or hour and a half chat. So we've definitely, it's been a long time. Time flies when you're having a good conversation.
And tell me, no, I don't need you to. I know God forgives me. I know God forgives me.
Yeah, you don't need me to give you. Anyway, you always, okay. Look,
listen, it's the biggest regret of my life.
You had a bit of a grinning from me tonight. But it shows, how resilient you are and how strong you are. Why is White Walker raging? Why are you raging, White Walker? The way I've spoken to Angela tonight. Do you feel as if I've raised topics that have gone against your own experiences? You're welcome to come on. And as you saw by Brian, he kept his face off the camera. So if anyone comes in and feels as if I've been...
No, don't go into self-doubt. Don't go into self-doubt, Matt. You did brilliantly. You did
well. White Walker is my #1 subscriber.
No, I know.
Oh, no, she's angry with Brian. Oh, right, she's raging about Brian.
Okay. Look, I'll catch up with you. I'll be listening tomorrow.
Okay, God bless.
And if anybody's going to send hate at me, what am I going to do? All right. Love you.
And you.
I don't know how to exit. I've never done this before.
I'll get rid of you, mate. I'll get rid of you. Right, there goes Angela. Isn't that lovely? Yeah, no, for a moment then I thought you were, White Walker, I thought you were, angry that I had to go at Angela. Look, let's get Angie back on, right? She doesn't know how to get off.
I don't know how to exit. What do I do?
And you got it, Angie. And
it's like,
come on, we're going to watch until you go now.
What is it called? That film where it goes on and on and on all the time?
Never end the story. I don't know. You may know.
Oh, anyway. All right. Never mind. All right. Let me try and exit.
We're going to watch you.
All right. I'm just going to go that. Leave.
It's one of those you hang up. No, you hang up. No, you hang up. Good. Yeah, she's off. She's gone. Isn't that lovely, eh? That was beautiful, wasn't it? So, we learnt a load of stuff. Brian, I don't get his, let's not be fuming about Brian. Let's not be fuming. White Walker, my #1 subscriber. Yeah, my #1 mate. Let's not be fuming about Brian. He's got something wound up about him, that's for sure. I don't really get it. But I thought that was good. I got Ange to cry, break down a bit. I'm not saying I'm a bully or anything. I'm just saying, sometimes when you ask questions, wow, she didn't believe her own daughter. I'd hate to think well, anyway, I've never been in that situation, God bless. But yeah, crikey. Oh, poor Ange. Poor Ange on the Matt Taylor TV. I feel for her. Well, I promise you it's going to be controversial. So anyway, I think we've done enough tonight. I'm just trying to, story hour. So, we've gone for 2 hours tonight. Isn't that interesting? So we've had a double extension. Yeah, what about Lee? T? Is T on? is T's welcome to come in, because about T, where's my notes on T? Here. That's been a very public, dressing down, isn't it? Been a very public dressing down. And so if I was going to speak to T, I'd like to call into question her Naomi theory. And, I don't know. Listen, I don't know what T's going to say. I hope everyone has enjoyed that conversation with the delightful Angela Power Disney, or Ange, as I like to call her. I think it's been a very successful chat, isn't it? Let me try and get some light up here. Let's get some light. I think it's been a very eventful chat, and it reminded me of a loudmouth conversation down the pub. Yeah, of course it did. It was quite fun. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed that. I hope I got my stories across. I got my Save and Miss Smythe, even. Elvis's 11th T's. We touched on T. And then we Flirty at 30 story. And of course, we rounded on the spectacular guest, Angela Power Disney. And of course, we had Brian Hurl on. He spoiled the bloody conversation. Oh, thanks, Chris, for saying it's a great show. He spoiled the conversation, I felt, by coming in all aggressive, all angry. I really don't like that man's energy and what he brings to the table. Quite frankly, he's got his own channel, hasn't he? I don't know why he's bloody bothering me. But it was really lovely having Angela Power Disney on. And I agree. I mean, what she said, ultimately, she can blame herself, or everyone can blame any mother who disbelieves their children when they say they're being abused, when they really are, when they are. That ultimately it's the abuser's fault. That's where the blame stands and is laid against, and rightly so. So what's this? I missed all your comments, by the way. Hurl, you say you're the big channel destroyer. Yeah, I don't see you saying anything back to all the ex-gangsters who are calling you out, a strange little man pretending to know them. Yeah, I think Brian Hurl is... thanks ever so much. In his own account, he says he's 50% genuine and 50% a nuthead. Thanks, E. I hope you're enjoying coming over. Listen, everyone, I think we've done really well. I don't think the Alan Mitchell, whatever his name is, Alan Mitchell, I think, a.k.a. Plisco, is the guy Brian Hurl has put up. I think that's what he got annoyed at me for. But listen, let's go. Let's go. I think I've certainly enjoyed it. It's been a great chat with Angela. God bless. And I'll see you tomorrow. Oh, yeah, what I'm going to do also, I forgot to tell you, there's going to be a Dye in My Hair Pink live coming up. I'm going to do that on Streamlab over the weekend. Maybe tomorrow. So I'll catch you at 9 o'clock tomorrow, okay, for a breakfast show. Yep, brilliant. Thanks ever so much for the kind comments. So we'll do a 9 o'clock breakfast show with you all, right? And we'll take it from there. We'll have a chat over the aftermath. And we've had another, like, Brian Hurl, Angela Power Disney, Matt Taylor clash live on Matt Taylor TV. I hope you all enjoyed it. I've really enjoyed it. Thanks ever so much for watching, everyone. I'll catch you all again at 9 o'clock tomorrow. Until then, remember, King Arthur loves you. Of course he does.
Who's this character? Lucifer, which is connected to Hoaxstead.
No, Lucifer's not that. Lucifer's not that.
Who's Lucifer then? Who's Lucifer?
The person I can't talk to time. I'm listed.
Oh, right.
I'm listed.
Okay. Yeah, I had a daughter with somebody who